Welcome to Drunk Bible Study. This show's mission is to read every single word of the greatest story ever told. A warning to our listeners, the hosts of this show are sinners, but they're doing their best. There will be drinking and there may be some swears. They did say they'd try to keep it clean, but I wouldn't put my money on it.
I'm Emily, and this is Drunk Bible Study, where my good friends Dedeker and Jace teach me, a born and raised atheist, all about the Bible. So Jace and Dedeker, how are you today? We're all together.
I know, we're all together in the same room for the first time in like months. It feels great.
For the first time doing this podcast.
Exactly. Oh, that's true. Wow. Drunk Bible Study first. Mm-hmm. Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Salute.
Yeah, so today we are continuing with the book of Job. This time we're reading chapters 29 through 31, for those of you following along at home in your study Bibles.
Mm-hmm. Is that a thing? Do people have study Bibles?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what do they do with them? They study them?
Study them.
Or do they just read them? They're like pious about it, and I'm reading
maybe
this.
It'll have like notes in the margin about certain interpretations of a passage or explanations of the translation of a word. Or
Actually, to use an analogy that you would probably be more familiar with, it's very similar to like study editions of Shakespeare plays. You know, the ones that have like lots of footnotes that kind of give historical context or stuff like that, but just with
which are
with
awesome.
I think someday we'll have our own branded Drunk Bible Study Bible.
That would be so cool.
The DBSSB. The DBSSB. Yeah, that's the book for me.
You already have the jingle. You already have it.
That was already a song about the Bible.
Bible
instead
of DBS.
DBS SB.
SB. Gosh.
That was great. I was so impressed that you just like made that up on the spot. But
no, sorry.
I don't know things about
Gotta give
the
credit
Bible.
Where
so
credit's due. Well, speaking of the Bible, what did we read last time? Do you remember?
Emily, do you remember what happened?
More Job. Worms were involved.
Yeah, that's most
something
chapters.
like that. Yeah,
well, wasn't there some allusions and some comparisons of?
He was a little more chill.
A little more chill, and then remember in mine there was the subheading that it was like the friend's like final word.
Yes,
it was Job's final word to his friends.
Oh, okay.
Which makes me be like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
Now what are we doing?
Well, we're coming up on the end of the book and not too many episodes here.
Just been talking.
After today is 4 more episodes of Job. So we're getting there.
I also I had a question because your mother was like on the Drunk Bible Study Instagram. Your mother decided to say something to the effect of like, Job will make you cry. And I'm wondering like, where?
Interesting. Well, I think this has to do a lot with where you are personally when you're reading this book.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because we have talked about like how poetic this is, and we've joked about perhaps the author of this was, going through some stuff and so tended to dwell on certain things. But I definitely feel like if you were going through a very trying time in your life, a lot of the things Job is saying especially would really hit home, right?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. If I was reading this, not drinking and not trying to have a good time and just reading for the poetry, it would probably be quite moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps that's it. I think I'm just coming at it from the experience that I'm currently having, which is like joking and laughing with you two.
Right.
And so I'm I ain't crying.
Not dealing with worms.
No, thank goodness. I mean,
knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. What are we drinking today?
Well, we're all actually drinking the same thing since we're actually all in the same room together.
What?
I know.
Yeah. So we have a box of hipster red wine.
Oh, the best. If you're going to get box wine, it better be hipster box wine.
And isn't this kind of like good for biblical reading? Drinking wine?
Wine's very biblical.
Yeah.
Wine's a big thing.
In the New Testament, Jesus does turn boxes into wine.
Oh my God. I really just like for a minute thought that you were not full of shit. And I was like, oh my God.
The old classic miracle, boxes into wine.
Did you see my face? Wow. Okay. Good one.
Okay, well, I think that's a good note to start things on.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, so I'm going to start out reading Job 29, yeah?
Sweet.
Yep.
So again, I have a little subtitle here that says Job's final defense.
I don't get these subtitles. Why does she only get them?
I know. Is it her browser? Is it? I don't know.
What is it called? Say it again.
Job's final defense?
Okay, so it was his final talking to his friends.
Well, it was his final word to his friends, and then the path to wisdom, or like we finally discover wisdom.
Oh, right, his interlude.
Right. So I think that his last word to his friends was like the beginning of many chapters of his last.
No, exactly.
words.
I'm like
And then it's going to be like Job Strikes Back. Return of the Job.
I can only hope
the
so.
Final Job. Okay.
Final Job. That's really good.
Okay. Here we go. Job continued his discourse.
I bet he did.
Here we are, off to the races.
Yeah.
How I long for the months gone by, for the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shone on my head, and by his light I walked through darkness. Okay, so again, is it like God's holding up a lamp and the light is casting on Job's head? I got the vision of more like a headlamp.
No, I got the vision of him being in an interrogation room.
Oh, geez.
And like this lamp is shining down on him.
Like in his face.
Yeah.
That is intense.
Well,
God.
Okay. Oh, for the days when I was in my prime, when God's intimate friendship blessed my house, when the Almighty was still with me and my children were around me, when when my path was drenched with cream and the rock poured out for me streams of olive oil.
So what is this rock?
It could be rock the Dwayne Johnson pouring out streams of olive oil
just
for
is
you.
There, like,
He's just like, there you go. Why not?
I would love that. And the rock poured out streams of olive oil. It's like, I would love some olive oil on this pasta.
He's
and
like,
Dwayne
hello.
The Rock Johnson's like, sure thing, I'll pour you out some streams of it.
But also, like, is his path just like, is he wading through a creamy path? Like, what's happening here?
Is it like his cows are so abundant that they're just like milking
all over?
Wow. Okay, let's continue.
Okay. When I went to the gate of the city and took my seat in the public square, the young men saw me and stepped aside, and the old men rose to their feet. Like, who is this cream-covered guy?
This man covered in cream and olive
creamy,
oil.
oily guy.
Oh, boy.
The chief men refrained from speaking and covered their mouths with their hands.
Oh, Job. Oh.
The voices of the nobles were hushed, and their tongues stuck to the roof of their mouths.
That's really amazing.
That's really
visual.
specific. Yeah. Whoever heard me spoke well of me, and those who saw me commended me, because I rescued the poor who cried for help, and the fatherless who had none to assist them, which contradicts what his friends tried to call him out on.
No, exactly. I'm like, Job, come on. Let's be honest here.
I mean...
But maybe he's like, no, my friends are gaslighting me. I've done a lot of good stuff.
I mean, maybe.
I gotta hand it to Job for, when you're feeling down and your friends start telling you that you are these bad things, it could be easy, tempted to believe them. But he's like, no, actually, I didn't do that. Although he definitely seems to have, like, we've talked about him being a pretty successful guy, but this sounds like he was... the overlord of... right?
If Dwayne The Rock Johnson is following you around as your olive oil vassal, like, clearly...
Yeah, he's doing okay.
He's doing all right.
I just love that image. That'd be so cool.
I know, it's so wonderful. I hope someone can illustrate that for us someday.
Yes.
What if Dwayne The Rock Johnson became a fan of this show and did decide to come pour us olive oil just to fulfill my dream of having Dwayne The Rock Johnson pour me streams of olive oil?
But where would they go? Would they go on, like, giant plates of bread? Would they just go into your mouth? Would it just go onto the ground?
I don't think I want to drink straight olive oil. But yeah, onto maybe some bread.
Maybe like onto a plate, you dip some bread in it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It's kind of like I've always had a dream of Jeff Goldblum being my sommelier.
Okay. So Dwayne The Rock Johnson pours us streams of olive oil.
He's the
Jeff Goldblum pours us
olive boy.
Olive oilier.
Olive oilier, yeah.
And then Jeff Goldblum is the sommelier.
Right.
Yeah, brilliant. Well,
and then if we could get who would it be?
We need a third.
If we could get Vin Diesel to pour us some balsamic vinaigrette some balsamic vinegar
and a little bit of like cracked pepper on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be in heaven. I love that.
That would be literal
from your
heaven.
mouth to God's ears.
And to Vin Diesel's, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's, and Jeff Goldblum's. Okay. All right.
You believe it, you receive it, you can achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
Where was I? Okay.
I really don't know.
The one who was dying blessed me. I made the widow's heart sing. I put on righteousness as my clothing. Justice was my robe and my turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame.
He's definitely contradicting, like, kind of
everything.
One for one, each of the things that who was it? Zophar? I think it was Zophar last time.
Yeah, I mean, he contradicts himself all over the place.
Well, he's not contradicting himself. He's contradicting Zophar.
Yes.
Zophar was like, you denied stuff to a widow, and you didn't give to the hungry.
You stole an ox from a widow.
Right, whatever it was, yeah. And he's just like,
Jeez.
actually, I didn't do that.
I didn't do that. I made her sing.
I made her sing. I made her heart sing.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a little different.
She may have sung. I mean, who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was a father to the needy. I took up the case of the stranger. I broke the fangs of the wicked and snatched the victims from their teeth. Jeez.
Wait,
like vampires?
Getting all up in there. He's like, ka-chow.
Wait, aren't vampires a thing in the Bible? Did I hear about this?
Not
we joked about it.
We joked about it. That in like vampire mythology, Cain is in theory maybe one of the first vampires.
They're talking about it again, though.
Not one of, but the first.
The first vampire.
But
in vampire mythology, not in biblical mythology.
This does support it, because I remember back in college when I decided I wanted to read through the New Testament, I definitely found some stuff in there too where I was like, could this be about vampires?
Were you really?
Guys,
definitely.
It's Job Vampire Hunter.
Oh.
That's what he's
Or
saying.
vampire,
Debater.
Fang grabber.
Fang grabber.
Breaker.
Fang breaker.
That's what they call him.
Fangbreaker.
Job Fangbreaker's really good.
That is a good name.
I don't know. That sounds kind of like a furry name, honestly.
Yeah. Also, I did...
Right?
Jeez. I did, at Comic-Con this last weekend...
Oh, yeah.
I did find
I was there too, by the way. Dedeker's the only one who's
still
not.
I'll listen to your
Japan.
Comic-Con stories. It's fine.
Okay.
So at Comic-Con, there was a guy selling comics that a bunch of them were from this series that's Jesus Zombie Hunter. And it was pretty... Or no, I'm sorry. Not Jesus Zombie Hunter. I'm confusing it with Abraham Lincoln Zombie Hunter.
I thought it was Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
No, this is Zombie Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
And it's like
that's
Zombie Jesus versus Mecha Hitler, and like Zombie Jesus versus Michael Jackson, Zombie Jesus versus
So these are just to like get a lull out of people, right?
What?
I guess there's a whole series of them though.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then there's also
wait a
one
minute, does
graphic
Zombie
novel.
Jesus always win?
Well, yeah, I mean, he must win. He's the hero of the story. Like,
Okay, so he's
Batman
gotta keep
always
coming
wins,
back.
right? Like, yeah. Okay. But anyway, yeah, Zombie Jesus. So that I hadn't seen before. But because there are other, like, movies called, that are about Jesus fighting zombies, but this is that Jesus is a zombie. Anyway.
Fighting Michael Jackson.
I didn't read any of it, but I thought it was
Job
interesting.
Fangbreaker.
Yeah. Job
Fangbreaker.
Fangbreaker.
It's not an easy thing to say.
They broke the fangs of the wicked. Yes, Fangbreaker. Okay.
Yep.
Snatch the victims from their teeth. Teeth victim snatcher. I thought, I will die in my own house. My days as numerous as the grains of sand. My roots will reach to the water, and the dew will lie all night on my branches. My glory will not fade. The bow will grammar. My glory will not fade. The bow will be ever new in my hand, and the odds will be ever in my favor.
Exactly.
Gosh.
I'm like, God.
Is it the bow or the bough? Like a bough of a tree? That's spelled different, right?
No.
Is that
It
spelled
is
the
spelled
same?
different.
Oh.
A bow where you shoot bows and arrows is B-O-W. A bough of a tree is B-O-U-G-H.
Oh.
Right.
Yes.
A bow.
I was thinking about the bow of a ship when you said that, and that's spelled
the
this
same.
way.
That is
You're
spelled
right.
this
That-
way.
and I was like, the bow.
On this episode of Drunk Spelling Study,
We have bows and bows.
Bows and bows and bows.
and bows.
Okay.
Yeah.
People listened to me expectantly, waiting in silence for my counsel. After I had spoken, they spoke no more. My words fell gently on their ears.
Oh, so nice.
They waited for me as for showers.
Like rain showers?
I guess
I
rain
think so,
showers.
yeah.
I was thinking people in line at the hostel shower trying to get
Yeah, I
in.
know. Excuse me, Job. I need
Job,
to use the shower.
Can you please wrap it up?
Out.
No, Job. I think Job is the shower.
Oh,
He's like, can you please stop using the Job? I need to get in there. I think
Jeez.
that's what he's getting
okay.
at.
They
Whoa.
waited for me as for showers and drank in my words as the spring rain. When I smiled at them, they scarcely believed it. The light of my face was precious to them.
Wow, Job.
Job is really talking himself up here.
He's kind of going a little far, honestly.
Job doesn't need to think of himself this highly.
Maybe a little hubris here.
Last verse. I chose the way for them and sat as their chief. I dwelt as a king among his troops. I was like one who comforts mourners.
Wow,
okay.
That's the end of that. Goodness.
I mean, it doesn't God like humble people?
I mean, they say pride goeth before the fall. That's a Bible verse, right? Yeah. Or is that just a saying?
Don't look at me.
I actually don't know.
Yeah,
we'll find out, though.
We'll keep an eye out for it.
Keep an eye out for that one.
There it is.
But people didn't even expect... okay, so again, it does sound like Job really is a Bamf.
Oh, yeah.
According...
that's what it is.
Yeah, and he said, I sat as their chief.
Yeah.
So maybe to go back to what you were talking about, sort of tribal society and sort of more of a hunter-gatherer transitioning into the time of cities, that he was kind of actually literally a chief of his tribe, possibly.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm
not sure. Yeah.
I mean, but he's talking about the other chiefs.
Well, he said the chief men refrained from speaking, so maybe other...
Might be a different meaning of
it could
chief.
be, it could be a different translation, I suppose.
Right.
Well, next chapter.
All right. Here we go. This is Job Fangbreaker, still speaking.
What's the thing on it?
Is there a title?
No, I don't. I'll let you know if there is one. There is none.
There's no title for this one. Okay.
Oh.
Great. All right,
okay.
Job 30. But now they mock me, men younger than I, whose fathers I would have disdained to put with my sheepdogs.
Whoa,
yikes.
Whoa,
jeez.
Whoa, sick burn on sheepdogs.
I would disdain to put you with my sheepdogs.
What does he mean by put them with them? Put them in the doghouse with them?
You're not even worthy to sleep with my dogs.
Jeez.
My sheepdogs.
My sheepdogs, specifically.
We're the lowest of all dogs.
Which is so not true.
I don't think that's what he means.
Sheepdogs, they're so cute.
I just learned about turnspit dogs, but that's for another time.
Turnspit?
Yeah, turnspit dogs. They were bred in the 16th, 17th, 18th century, specifically to essentially put them on a big hamster wheel that would turn the spit of meat so that you didn't have to deal with it when you were roasting the meat.
Hashtag vegan. Hashtag gross.
Yeah.
Hashtag gross.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, they weren't on there all 24/7. It was just when you were cooking some meat, you stick the dog in there.
It's how can we exploit animals even further? Okay, we'll make a dog.
Well, before you had a robot.
We'll make our dog cook our other animals that we're eating.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Continuing on.
Okay.
Of what use was the strength of their hands to me, since their vigor had gone from them? Haggard from want and hunger, they roamed...
the horrible...
God bless it.
Hangered from want and hunger, they roamed...
Wait, did you just say hangered?
What did I say?
You told us it hangered.
Hangered?
Hangered from want and hunger.
Third time's a charm here. Haggard from want and hunger, they roamed the parched lands in desolate wastelands at night. In the brush they gathered salt herbs, and their food was the root of the broom bush.
I wonder if that's any good. It's probably not. He's talking about people he doesn't like, right?
I think he's implying it's not good.
Okay.
Yeah. They were banished from human society, shouted at as if they were thieves.
Thieves.
Okay. Is he talking about, is this some kind of low caste people? It seems to be
who are now the ones scorning him or whatever? The ones mocking him?
Yeah, maybe some kind of ancient caste system.
Yeah, I suppose that's possible. I'm actually really curious about what the what some of the translations of salt brush and whatever these things.
Salt herbs and broom brush.
Broom bush. The broom bush.
Okay, yeah. Let's see what we can find here. Let's see the Good News translation. They pulled up the plants of the desert and ate them, even the tasteless roots of the broom tree. Oh, it's a tree now, not a bush.
They do clarify that
what is a broom tree?
The root is tasteless. Well, clearly it's how you made your brooms back in the day.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the plant you made your brooms from, yeah.
Well, what else would it be?
Whoa, guys.
What?
The Message Bible says, homeless gutter snipes chewing on old bones and licking old tin cans. This is very modernized. I don't think they had tin cans.
Oh my God.
Licking old tin cans, that's dangerous. You'll slice your tongue open.
You're right. You will. That's
definitely safer to chew on a broom root.
Yeah. Do either of you know what gutter snipes means?
No, but I love it.
Snipers in the gutter.
snipers in the okay, that's one possibility.
I doubt that.
It's a scruffy and badly behaved child who spends most of their time on the street. So it's like a street urchin, probably. Yeah, similar thing.
Street rat.
Goodness. Let's see, the New International Reader's Version. Among the bushes, they gathered salty plants. They ate the roots.
Plants.
They ate the roots of desert trees.
Is that going to be the name of your new vegan restaurant, Emily? Salty plants.
Yes, salty plants. No, nobody will come. Vegans don't like salt.
I was thinking salty, like,
Oh, they're salty.
Like sassy.
Like sassy plants.
Sassy plants.
But sassy plants would do much better than a place called salty plants.
Sassy plants would probably do really well, actually.
Yeah. Sassy plants.
Sassy plants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, here we go. Right. They were banished from human society, shouted at as if they were thieves. They were forced to live in the dry stream beds, among the rocks and in holes in the ground. They brayed among the bushes and huddled in the undergrowth.
What does braid mean?
Like bray like a donkey.
Like, meh.
That's a ba.
No.
That's, I don't know what that is.
Is it still a ba? Look, you do a bray. What's a bray sound like? Wait, no, that's a whinny.
Like, what do donkeys say? Donkeys say ee-aw.
Okay, all right.
So
on this episode of Animal Sounds with Jason and
animal
Emily.
sounds.
Oh boy, they brayed among the bushes and huddled in the undergrowth. A base and nameless brood, they were driven out of the land.
I think that's a good dunk.
That's okay. Let's drink for it.
Okay. I mean, I've been drinking.
Yeah. And now those young men mock me in song. I have become a byword among them.
I really want to know what songs they were singing about Job.
All right. Here comes Job. He's gross and scabby and lost all his family in a fire and some wind. Right? It's sort of like a sea shanty.
It's a beautiful song.
Oh boy!
Wow. Okay,
that's
a sea shanty of the desert.
And they do like a call and return, like with the song.
Response?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, he does say, "I have become a byword among them," which we did learn before. A byword is sort of like a known,
like a pejorative,
or like a little proverb of like a little story about like a cautionary tale or something like that.
So Job is now a cautionary tale, which is
that poor bastard Job.
I mean, he is
true today. Yes,
he is a cautionary tale.
Is he calling us all of these things then?
Wait, who us?
Keep going. Just keep going.
Okay. We are the people who he's become a byword to. The ones who live in stream beds and eat salt bushes. Wait, salt roots? Salt plants?
Salt
what was
herbs.
it? Salt herbs? Okay.
Yes.
They detest me and keep their distance. They do not hesitate to spit in my face. Now that God has unstrung my bow and afflicted me, they throw off restraint in my presence. On my right, the tribe attacks. They lay snares for my feet. They build their siege ramps against me.
Geez, siege ramps, like that level of technology.
I wasn't aware he had castles to siege, but
apparently he has everything.
Yeah,
he really does.
But the wind blew his castle over.
Right.
It huffed and it puffed.
God huffed and
fell into the swamp.
Wow, how many different references can we try to make in one sentence?
I'm pretty sure a lot.
They break up my road. They succeed in destroying me. No one can help him, they say. They advance. They advance as through a gaping breach. Amid the ruins, they come rolling in. Terrors overwhelm me. My dignity is driven away as by wind. My safety vanishes like a cloud. And now my life ebbs away. Days of suffering grip me. Night pierces my bones. My gnawing pains never rest. In his great power, God becomes like clothing to me.
Huh?
What?
He binds me like the neck of my garment.
Okay, hang on. Wait.
What does that mean?
Sorry. Okay, so God becomes like clothing to me. So does that mean like good, like protective, covering my shame and protecting me from the elements? But then he goes on to say like he binds me like the neck of my garment, like... I mean, I think you're buttoning the top button a little too tight, Job, honestly.
Well, okay, let's listen to the rest of this.
Okay.
So, God becomes like clothing to me. He binds me like the neck of my garment. He throws me into the mud, and I am reduced to dust and ashes. I cry out to you, God, but you do not answer. I stand up, but you merely look at me. You turn on me ruthlessly. With the might of your hand, you attack me.
God just like turns around and like ruthlessly looks at Job.
Like the dramatic gopher.
No, exactly. Like he's very dramatic looking at him.
Yeah, I am confused about the clothing metaphor, though.
Yeah, that's odd.
That's kind of funny.
Becomes like clothing to me.
Because, I mean, is he referencing the clothing that Adam and Eve wanted in the creation story?
I don't think so.
Diving a little deep there.
I'm just saying, like clothing has become this burden.
Trying to find the symbol in the through line through the different books, though.
Well, I do what I can. I don't know as much about this as you two do.
No. That'll change.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of just like
just as much.
I'm assuming you two have read it multiple times or read parts of this.
I've
multiple
never read
times.
this part before.
I've never read this part before.
All right, well,
we're all equally.
I don't know about God being clothing. I don't have any answers here.
He's binding people with people's
necks.
Yeah.
Okay, continuing with the list of things God is doing to him.
Okay.
You snatch me up and drive me before the wind. You toss me about in the storm. I know you will bring me down to death, to the place appointed for all the living. Surely no one lays a hand on a broken man when he cries for help in his distress. Have I not wept for those in trouble? Has not my soul grieved for the poor? Yet when I hoped for good, evil came. When I looked for light, then came darkness. The churning inside me never stops. Days of suffering confront me. I go about blackened, but not by the sun.
What? Like cooked? Like barbecued?
I think maybe he's talking about all his scabs.
Ew.
Is this a gross out? Do we drink for that?
I mean, I'm grossed.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the next chapter, we would like to take a quick break to talk to you about Patreon. So Patreon is a great place to help us out, help keep this show going. So even $1 a month on Patreon, which you can go to patreon.com/drunkbiblestudy and you can sign up to become a patron of ours. And even at $1, it really helps us to keep the show going. For $6 a month, you can become a parishioner. So that means you get access to bonus episodes, which are super helpful and informative to someone like me who knows very little about the Bible and sometimes needs a little bit of extra help. And Jason Dedeker are great about giving me some awesome info onto like things that might be a little bit challenging to understand when I take a first pass at reading the Bible. So sometimes we get things like more in-depth analysis and research, and then sometimes also we get to listen to things like musicals, Bible musicals. There's a lot of biblical musicals out there, guys.
There are a lot,
and that's awesome because I love musicals and I love getting to watch them with the two of you. And then all of you beautiful people out there. So if you want to get in on us watching and listening to those amazing shows, movies, musicals, then become a parishioner of ours. And then finally at $12 a month, you become a disciple. So you get to support the show, you get all the bonus content, and then you also get ad-free episodes, which is super awesome. You don't have to listen to me gab. And then also, you get them 2 days early. Like, what? That's so cool. You get them before anyone else. So you're super extra special, which obviously you already are, but you're super extra special. So become a patron of ours at patreon.com/drunkbiblestudy today. Help us out, be extra special, and get some new bonus content as well.
And so, speaking of extra special, we have a goal. We have a goal to build a congregation. We have a congregational goal. And so that congregational goal is we're trying to reach 300 patrons. And when we reach that goal of 300 patrons, then we're finally going to be able to start releasing 2 Bible studies every week instead of just once a week. So that means that you don't need to wait as long between episodes. It means you're going to get more content in addition to like our bonus content as well if you're a patron. So again, help us reach our congregational goal, join our family, join our little not quite churchy family, and go to patreon.com/drunkbiblestudy.
And then the last thing we wanted to talk about is just if you could take a moment, a couple minutes out of your day and write us a review on iTunes or on Stitcher. So I'm going to give you the real scoop on this show. This is a difficult show to spread the word and advertise about for us because a lot of social media platforms don't let us advertise a show that has anything about drinking in the name of it, number one. And two, like, identifying our target audience is hard, right? Because this isn't something that's just for Christians. It's also not for like anti-Christians. It's something else entirely. And so the best way to actually get this out there and for more people to read it is to get reviews from you. Take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher that's going to help other people know what to expect from this. It'll make us more likely to show up on like the new and noteworthy lists or higher in the rankings on iTunes, which is a big way that a lot of people find podcasts. So if you could really just take those couple minutes, that would be huge in terms of us growing this, which if you think about it, means more people listening to the show, which means more other patrons, which makes us more likely to get to the 300 patrons, which then gets you more Drunk Bible Study each week. It's just, again, it's a snowball effect of winning. So if you could take those couple minutes and write us a review, it would make a huge difference for us, as well as spreading the word to your friends and anyone you know who might be into this.
I go about blackened, but not by the sun. I stand up in the assembly and cry for help. I have become a brother of jackals, a companion of owls.
What?
What's wrong with owls?
A companion of owls? Is that a bad thing now?
A brother of jackals?
I mean, a brother of jackals, I get it. Yeah, jackals are nasty. No one likes a jackal.
Owls, I don't know.
What, they're not really scavengers, they're hunters.
They hang out in the night.
They are hunters. I guess
maybe it's
they're
darkness.
Spooky at night, you know.
They have big eyes.
Right.
Big eyes. And they cough up gross, owl pellets.
They do. Yeah, that's gross. Yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
They don't poop out owl pellets?
Well, no, they do poop things out, but no. Okay, so here on Drunk Biology
Drunk
Lesson.
Animal Study, yeah.
On Drunk Animal Husbandry. Yeah, so an owl catches a mouse, let's say, and eats it, but it can't digest the bones in the fur, so it coughs up the bones in the fur into this. It's like a hairball, almost, essentially. And it's like, and spits it out. And then you can find them in the woods if you're really curious. It's a little ball of fur and, animal parts.
Right.
We dissected some in my 3rd grade class or 4th grade class.
Really?
4th grade?
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to find them out in the woods at where I grew up all the time also. It was actually, this is maybe a weird story from my childhood, but it's actually kind of fun to poke through and just see all the little skeletal parts of various woodland creatures.
Emily's very upset about this. The two of you are
looking at each other like I'm freaking nuts.
Yep, pretty much.
Well, cool.
I do want to say these are some good. What eponyms? Is that the word?
Epithets?
Not epithets. Eponym, I think, is it's like the thing that goes at the end of your name.
Oh, like Mother of Dragons.
Yeah, it's like so and so.
I thought that was an epithet.
Is it?
Look it up. You have a computer.
It's fine.
Going.
You can look it up. Anyway, to add to his Job Fangbreaker, brother of jackals, companion of owls, is all so pretty good, right? Well, it's like Daenerys Targaryen, right? That her name becomes, freer of slaves, breaker of chains, mother of dragons, all this stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
What is it?
It's an epithet.
Epithet. Okay, yes. Got it.
Like Richard the Lionhearted.
Right.
Yes,
okay.
Epithet.
Yes. My skin grows black and peels. My body burns with fever. Gross out drink. My lyre is tuned to mourning, and my pipe to the sound of wailing.
So emo music.
What pipe? Oh, lyre. Okay.
It's his pipe. Except now it's wah, wah. That's,
Wah, wah, is the only noise his lyre can make.
Yeah, it's his slide whistle.
Wing walk.
And my pipe has become a slide whistle.
I mean, I appreciate that, even though his family died, his castle is all burned down and blown over. Mm-hmm. He still has some instruments with him.
At least a slide whistle.
Well, you gotta have those. Yeah. Well, those were... I'm sorry, I'm going to nerd out real quick about history of language.
Of course.
Okay.
But this is during Job existed during literacy times, basically. So these stories were passed through an oral tradition, which...
So you would probably sing it.
You would sing it, yeah, much like...
So you could remember it.
Like the Iliad and the Odyssey and stuff like that were for a very long time were these oral traditions that had some sort of usually had some sort of a rhyme scheme or an alliterative scheme or something to help you remember it, but it would be accompanied with as a song to make it easier to remember these things that go on for 15 episodes of Drunk Bible Study. to remember them all. So yeah, lyres were actually a super important thing. And actually nobility was buried with their lyres, or buried with a lyre. The idea being that they would...
just reminds me of being buried with, like, a man who is a liar.
That's dark.
No, like...
Gotta have one of those.
I'm assuming the man who is a liar is also dead, but he's, he was a liar all through his life, and the nobility get to be buried.
Really, a noble person died, and we have an excuse to kill that freaking
that liar.
Yeah, and it's like, you go in the ground with them.
No, but the idea was that the lyre was used, like you as a king would hire a poet who, at the time would play on the lyre to go and like
you would
spread.
hire a liar.
Hire a hired liar.
You'd hire a hired liar to go out into the world and like sing about your good deeds and how great you are.
Oh.
Well, Job doesn't need that. He's doing it himself.
Yeah.
Well,
wait, so you'd hire so you'd hire a liar
as like your PR guy.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say
right?
to go do some campaigning for you.
Well, and also to remember the good things you did. Because, right, if people aren't telling the stories, it gets forgotten because there's no written
song
records.
About Good King Wenceslas, man. Let's all sing it together now.
Right,
hey,
exactly.
Hey.
I mean...
But so this is, Good King Job Fangbreaker. And that you would be buried with a lyre because that would be needed in the afterlife to help, like, sing about your good deeds there so that...
They don't have liars?
Well, everyone brings their own. It's sort of a BYOL. Anyway, please go on.
Okay.
It's your turn, Emily.
Does anyone have a thing with 31?
No, a title?
No. I will let you know if there's a title.
All right. I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at young women.
Mm-hmm. No, he just said at a young woman.
At a young woman. Oh, just...
There was this one young woman.
Just like a single young woman, You're right.
I made this covenant that I
thought that it was like women plural, but it's just a single woman that he really is lusting over, clearly. For what is our lot from God above, our heritage from the Almighty on high? What's the thing about on high? Like the Almighty is like up high and like a mountain, like Zeus was?
I don't think...
or in the air, in the sky, like because God's like floating around and stuff up there.
Yeah.
I do know that in the ancient Germanic religions, I'm sorry, I can't help but nerd out over this stuff. History is cool.
Yeah.
History is cool. I did really bad at it in school because there weren't podcasts about it yet.
I doubt that.
I did not do good in history. That was like my one really bad subject.
Were you good at math?
I was great at math. Really bad at history. Anyway...
I wasn't.
Whatever, you guys.
Please tell us what you're going to tell us about Germanic languages.
Is that heaven was talked about like a hall, as in like the hall of a kingdom or whatever, as in it were like above us, above the heavens is where they all lived in their big banquet hall.
Wait,
up there.
Who they?
The
like
gods. Because the Germanic religions were pagan, right? So they had multiple gods, right?
So Zeus and other people.
Well, no, those were the Greek gods.
Damn it!
They had Odin and Freya
and Odin.
Like
okay.
And
yeah,
Loki and all the
Marvel characters.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so it was a Marvel movie up there.
Movie, yeah,
it was. Yeah. It was like that scene where they're all eating shawarma at the end of Avengers.
Yeah,
it's like that.
But that's not.
Just kidding.
No, it's not. That's not. That's kidding. Only Thor is the only god there.
Yeah, I know.
Is it not ruin for the wicked, disaster for those who do wrong? Does he not see my ways and count my every step? If I have walked with falsehood, or my foot has hurried after deceit.
Just my foot.
Just the foot. Let God weigh me in honest scales, and he will know that I am blameless. Okay, I mean, I guess, but God still doesn't care that he's blameless.
No, it seems like he doesn't care. But Job's back on his thing of like,
I've done all
God
the stuff.
Can't take me to court.
I'm so great.
Like,
God can't say anything, even though he is saying something.
Yes.
But then he's also said, like, well, but who are we to know what we've done wrong? Because God is the only one who knows.
There.
Yeah, he has gone back and forth a bit.
That's the thing. I'm like, Job, come on. Okay. If my steps have turned from the path, if my heart has been led by my eyes, or if my hands have been defiled, then may others eat what I have sown, and may my crops be uprooted.
Okay.
If my heart has been enticed by a woman, or if I have lurked at my neighbor's door.
Whoa,
what?
Lurking.
Just like chilling outside, like looking in. Yeah. That and also being enticed by one, they're the same thing. Okay.
Equally bad.
Then may my wife grind another man's grain. Oh my God, yes.
Wow. Wait, keep reading the rest of that line.
Then may my wife grind another man's grain, and may other men sleep with her. Whoa!
Can we look at the different translations of those two verses?
Okay, yeah.
I just love
good.
Bro.
The euphemism of "may my wife grind another man's grain." You know what? I'll tell you. I think she might be grinding another man's grain. If you know, what I mean.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, I have some really, really good translations here.
Let's hear it.
This is from the American Standard Version. This one says, "Then let my wife grind onto another."
Whoa.
Wait, onto another period, not another man, just like another period.
Unto another, and let others bow down upon her.
What?
I think we know what that one
means. Hey.
Bow down upon her. Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Okay, let's find some good ones.
That one was good.
Yeah.
That one might be the best. Let's see. The good news says, cute. Then let my wife cook another man's food and sleep in another man's bed.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Tamed that up.
It's very Ken and Barbie.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? The King James Version. Then let my wife grind unto another and let others bow down upon her.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. But I love that that's in the King James.
Okay,
That's great.
Great.
Let's see, what's the message say? Fine. My wife has every right to go ahead and sleep with anyone she wants to.
What?
Really took some liberties there.
Whatever. I didn't love her anyway.
Don't care.
Well, this is if he does those things, right?
I see.
If he's a bad, if he lurks at his neighbor's house
and is enticed by another woman.
I want to know about the lurking thing too.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, we'll have to go back to that.
Lurking to like steal something or lurking?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Just like interested in what the other person is doing.
Like, what does he mean by lurking exactly?
So to go with, let's go with the King James here, just to see the comparison. If mine heart have been deceived by a woman, or if I have laid wait at my neighbor's door. So maybe betraying a neighbor?
Betray or to hurt him or...
Let's see what the message says. If I've let myself be seduced by a woman and conspired to go to bed with her.
Oh, is it like your neighbor's woman?
Lurking at your neighbor's door for him to leave so you can go and bow down on his wife.
That makes a lot more sense now. Thank you, messenger.
So you can go have her grind your grain instead of your neighbor's grain.
The New International Reader's Version says, suppose my heart has been tempted by a woman, or suppose I've prowled around my neighbor's door. Okay. All right. Okay. So then she'll either cook food for another man or grind upon him.
Grind his gears.
Grind his gears.
Grinds.
All right.
Okay. Continuing on.
I shall. For that would have been wicked, a sin to be judged. It is a fire that burns to destruction. It would have uprooted my harvest. Like metaphorical harvest or his real harvest?
I don't know. I think metaphorically. If I had done those bad things, that would be a fire that burns to destruction.
Yeah, and
right?
uproots
but then I would lose all
harvest.
My crops. And
right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I didn't know if he was just like using harvest as a metaphor for his life or something.
I mean, maybe.
It's quite
possible.
possible.
All of this seems slightly metaphorical.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, I don't know. I guess he went into real literal stuff with bowing down on his wife. Sorry, that's my new favorite phrase there.
I thought that people didn't do that back then.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't
let
live
others
back then.
bow down upon her.
Yeah. If I have denied justice to any of my servants, whether male or female, when they had a grievance against me, what will I do when God confronts me? What will I answer when called to account? Did not he who made me in the womb make them? Wait, God doesn't have a womb.
No, but
God made me in my mother's womb.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because God does, makes everything.
Yeah.
But this is actually super interesting.
No, it is really interesting.
Why?
Well, we talked before about him. Remember, he was making the comparison to being like a slave
laborer.
or a day laborer waiting for their pay. And we were like, yeah, Joe, but you had servants. So we don't have a lot of sympathy for you suddenly being like, I'm like them.
Yeah.
And then he says this thing about if I've denied justice to any of my servants, then what will I do when God confronts me? What will I answer when called to account? But then he goes on to say that did not he who made me in the womb make them?
So like they're the same.
We're the same.
Yeah.
We're the same, but for whatever reason, I got a bunch of cool things, and they did not.
It is this surprising message of equality that hasn't really been touched on before in this book or in the Bible previously.
In general, yeah.
At this point, or at least what we've read, I mean.
Interesting. I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, I know that at this time, servants were often from, like, defeated other tribes would then become your slaves, rather than, like, a race of people, or like rather than being along ethnic lines, it was more like, well, we beat you in battle, so now you're our servants.
You're our servants. Interesting.
Yeah. So maybe he was interesting though. Just this whole message
Job a warlord.
I think all these tribes were pretty warring back then.
Seems
when
to
we get to
as much.
When we continue in Genesis, you'll see
it's just all wars all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Not wars like we know them, but like tribal conflicts,
skirmishes.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
If I have denied the desires of the poor or let the eyes of the widow grow weary, he's all about these widows.
Loves the widows. It makes their hearts sing.
Yeah. If I have kept bread to myself, not sharing it with the fatherless, also the fatherless, yes. But from my youth I reared them as a father would, and from my birth I guided the widow.
How did you guide the widow from your birth, Job?
He didn't. Job, come on.
From my youth, I reared them as a father would. So even when he was a kid,
he was rearing other kids.
He's ramping back up into
he's like, you know what, guys, just listen to how great I am.
Pendulum's really swinging right now.
Seriously.
And I guided this widow from birth. I was telling her when I was a mere, 1 month old how awesome she was and that it was going to be okay. If I have seen anyone perishing for lack of clothing, or the needy without garments, and their hearts did not bless me for warming them with the fleece from my sheep.
Okay, keep going.
If I have raised my hand against the fatherless, knowing that I had influence in court, then let my arm fall from the shoulder.
Wow.
Let it be broken off at the joint.
Gosh, that is quite a vow to make.
Yeah, it just like falls off entirely.
If we are to believe, though, what Job is saying, he was a pretty great guy, right? Like I'm
skeptical because
you know what? I'll believe it when I see it. Okay,
exactly. He's like, from the time I was born, I've been helping out widows.
I know. I'm a little skeptical too, but I just remembered though remember how this whole story started was God being like, Job is rad as heck, right? Satan, check out this guy, Job.
Can we not say hell?
But, right, this Job kid is just rad as all get out. And
that's true that even God was like, dude,
this guy
Job.
Look at that guy, Satan, look at him.
By the time he was a baby.
Do you think God and Satan were BFFs?
Boy,
we'll get to that story later.
There's a story about it?
Well, there's, Satan comes up more.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an origin story for Satan. Where do you think Satan came from?
I don't know. I thought he was like a legged snake.
No, technically they're different characters.
What?
Well, okay.
Well, there's some debate about that.
Guys, come on. Like, tell me.
Satan existed before the serpent was around.
I thought that the serpent was Satan.
Yes, but Satan existed.
I would just say the serpent's... I was always taught the serpent was not Satan, but was more like a servant of Satan's or one of his.
Yeah, I was told
lackeys.
that like Satan took the form of a serpent in order to tempt.
I guess I have heard that one too. Like we said, there's a lot of debate.
And then God smited the serpent and was like, "No more legs for you, serpent boy."
Yeah. Well, if you remember when we were reading Genesis before, unlike Job, not a ton of detail and discussion.
Right.
So a lot of the Bible is more like that, where it's like little, very short sections.
That's why people think it's multiple people who translated it.
And then this happened, and then this happened is more like Genesis style versus Job is very different, where it's like, this thing happened, and now we're going to spend all these chapters discussing the implications and what it might mean, what it might not mean, that it does feel very different from a lot of the rest of the Old Testament.
Yeah, the other ones are more like a history, whereas this one is more like sort of a poetic discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, continuing on.
But from my youth I reared. Let's try that again.
Yeah.
But from my youth I reared them as a father would, and from my birth I guided the widow. If I had seen anyone perishing for lack of clothing, or the needy without garments, and their hearts did not bless me for warming them with the fleece from my sheep, if I have raised my hand against the fatherless, knowing that I had influence in court, then let my arm fall from the shoulder, let it be broken off at the joint.
Oof.
For I dreaded destruction from God, and for fear of his splendor I could not do such things.
Mm-hmm.
I have put my trust in gold, or said to pure...
If I had
put my trust in gold, or said to pure gold, you are my security. If I have rejoiced over my great wealth, the fortune my hands have gained. If I had regarded the sun in its radiance, or the moon moving in splendor... That's quite nice. I like that. So that my heart was secretly enticed, and my hand offered them a kiss of homage.
What? Like to the sun and moon? Like, is he implying, like, if I was to worship the sun and moon instead of...
Kiss my hand, sun and moon.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah?
Maybe just that they're all material things rather than God.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, the sun and moon aren't material things. Well, they are.
No, but there were a lot of other tribes and cultures that did worship the sun and the moon. And
right.
A lot of the Bible, and actually a lot of Levitical law that we'll get into later, is more about like we need to differentiate ourselves from our enemies. So like anything that our enemies do, we're going to avoid doing. So
right.
I think things like
That's
worshiping idols or worshiping other gods, it's like, well, our enemies do that, so we're not going to do that.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's part of this, is like we know like our enemy tribes, they worship the sun and moon, or they put all their faith and stock in gold, and we're not going to do that. We're going to put our faith into our God.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my really quick interpretation.
Okay.
But in either case, like any of them is just saying I'm putting something above God.
Yes.
Right? Whatever that is, whether it's an astral body or another god or wealth, right?
Okay. Then these also would be sins to be judged, for I would have been unfaithful to God on high. If I have rejoiced at my enemy's misfortune or gloated over the trouble that came to him, I have not allowed my mouth to sin by invoking a curse against their life. If those of my household had never said, who has not been filled with Job's meat?
No.
What?
No.
Wait, please read that again without laughing.
I can't. Oh my gosh. I have not allowed my mouth to sin by invoking a curse against their life. If those of my household have never said, who has not been filled with Job's meat?
What?
With Job's meat.
With Job's meat? Really?
Apparently.
What are the translations on that?
Okay, all right.
Okay, hang on. Okay, while you're looking that up,
okay.
They have to be just referring to like who hasn't Job fed?
Yeah,
right.
Who in his household has not been like, I had a good meal of meat that Job
poor
gave
choice
us.
of words.
No, but
this, Job's
yes,
meat.
this was well before the euphemism
Lord.
of meat meant something else.
No wonder we never read this in church.
Yeah,
You're right.
This particular verse.
I bet the kids would have all snickered in church.
Wow, guys. Okay, for those of you listeners out there, because we have had some people message us saying, this version you're reading, the New International Version, is so weird to us because we grew up on the King James Version. Here's the King James of that for you. If the men of my tabernacle said not, oh, that we had of his flesh, we cannot be satisfied.
That's not any better.
Exactly.
That's not any better at all.
Wow.
These tabernacle men. Oh my gosh.
The tabernacle boys.
Exactly.
Oh man. Okay, but the Message Bible did lead us right, saying, didn't those who worked for me say, he fed us well?
Yeah.
There were always second helpings.
Oh, see, that's way better. Way
really
So cute.
I mean,
the New International Reader's Version says, the workers in my house always said, Job always gives plenty of food to everyone.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
boring.
Boring. I'm not sure which one I like better, the King James or the New International. who has been filled with Job's meat, or oh, that we had of his flesh. We cannot be satisfied.
Okay, but this is the thing, though, is that it's like all of those other translations, even this one that talks about meat, it's like, okay, it could be a reference to food. But them saying, oh, if we had of his flesh... So far in the Bible, that's when you refer to someone's flesh, you mean like their bodily flesh, and also possibly in a sexy way.
Totally.
You know, that's what really throws me off.
Or what if, I mean, we haven't seen that before in what we've read so far, right? You're kind of thinking ahead to other stuff you remember learning about?
Yes.
But what if you took it the other way around? What if we said, oh, that we had of his flesh meant like the flesh of the animals that he provided for us? That could make a very different meaning to some other stuff that happens later in the Bible.
Like what?
Right? Anyway, we'll get to it. I'm just saying.
In like years.
Translation is interesting.
That is really interesting. Okay.
Oh man, have the people of my tent not said, oh, that someone had not been satisfied with his meat? That's the Lexham English Bible.
Also not any better.
Can you say that again?
This is, have the people of my tent not said, oh, that someone had not been satisfied with his meat?
I just like imagine Job giving himself to everyone, like just satisfying everyone.
Just passing it out.
And here's another one. If those of my tent ever said, oh, that we might be sated with his flesh.
Again.
Yeah, they're really into the flesh thing. Wow.
Wow.
That's those are the best ones. Those are the best ones.
Those are real good. Okay.
Great.
Okay, please continue being filled with Job's meat.
Yes. But no stranger had to spend the night in the street, for my door was always open to the traveler to be filled with Job's meat.
Just giving it.
If I have concealed my sin as people do by hiding my guilt in my heart, because I so feared the crowd and so dreaded the contempt of the clans that I kept silent and would not go outside. Oh, that I had someone to hear me. I sign now my defense. Let the Almighty answer me. Let my accuser put his indictment in writing. Surely I would wear it on my shoulder. I would put it on like a crown.
The written indictment?
Would you really, Job?
Yeah,
there it is. I would give him an account of my every step. I would present it to him as a ruler. If my land cries out against me and all its furrows are wet with tears, if I have devoured its yield without payment or broken the spirit of its tenants, then let briars come up instead of wheat and stinkweed instead of barley. Stinkweed. What's a stinkweed?
What do you think it is? It's a
smelly weed.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Then let briars come up instead of wheat and stinkweed instead of barley. The words of Job are ended.
Whoa.
Finally.
Wait,
whoa.
What? Really?
But there's so much more of this book left.
Well,
the words of Job are ended.
Job ain't talking now, Mo.
He's done.
But
what?
I mean, maybe
Where
not.
do we go from here?
Know. Well, the words of Job are ended.
Okay, hang on.
This is the best cliffhanger ending we've had yet.
It's true.
Actually, Noah being left out in the water on the ark was also pretty good.
I think this is better though because
Oh no! Oh yeah, Noah.
What are your predictions for what happens next episode?
Okay, we have 4 episodes left. If that helps give you a sense of where we're at.
Really?
Well, what? I'm sorry. What is going to happen?
Well,
I guess the friends could respond
for 7 years.
7 years.
True. Friends could respond more.
There could be some action.
You talked about his wife maybe saying something again.
Yeah. Maybe his wife will come up again. Or maybe his wife's already off grinding grain somewhere.
Grinding
upon another man.
There was a lot of sexual euphemism in this particular.
That was a lot.
Yeah. I generally try to steer clear of just kind of the easy sex jokes when reading the Bible, but this was just too good.
Kind of hard to avoid.
There was no way to avoid it. Let's be honest.
Well, I'm really excited to get on to next time.
Who knows? It feels like anything could happen.
Right, seriously.
Here we are.
Seriously. Well, we'll see you in another few days in the next episode.
Yep.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Enjoy that meat and that grain. Well, you got
enjoy it.
Bow down on your friends.
Wow.
Thank you for joining us for Bible study today. If you enjoy the show, take a moment to subscribe and then write us a nice review on iTunes or Stitcher, letting other people know what you like about it. We love hearing from you. Find us on Twitter at DrunkBibleCast, on Instagram at DrunkBibleStudy, or send us an email to info@drunkbiblestudy.com. Drunk Bible Study is created and produced by Emily Matlack, Dedeker Winston, and me, Jace Lindgren. Our theme song is Book Club by Josh and Anand from their album Home of the. The theme song for the Book of Job is Agnus Dei X by Kevin MacLeod. For more information, visit us at drunkbiblestudy.com.